When the House voted Wednesday in favor of adding 7 paid sick days for rail workers, the measure passed 221 to 207. All the House Democrats were in favor, but all but 3 Republicans were against. Yes, almost every House Republican voted against paid sick leave for the people who keep our economy moving. They know their votes are public, right? I guess we shouldn't be surprised. I mean, 36 Republican senators voted this week against protections for same-sex and interracial couples. Even after failing to get their much vaunted red wave, Republicans have no problem defying public opinion or looking super, super extreme. So why doesn't it hurt them as much as it should? Julian Castro and Tara Setmeyer are still with me. Tara, seriously though, Republicans know we can see how they voted, right? How can they vote against something like paid sick days for essential workers in the year 2022?
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable because the idea of paid sick leave is something that the party has evolved on. I mean, when I was up on the Hill, Republicans were against it because they felt that it was, a tax on businesses, or that, there was all kinds of different conservative economic reasons for it. They felt that it shouldn't be government mandated and all these things. But there's been an evolved position on this, surprisingly, over the last couple of years. Maybe it was Ivanka Trump's influence on this. I don't know really what she did in the White House, except that was one of her things. But people even like Governor Kristi Noem, was public last year about considering paid family leave. You had some senators, Senator Rubio, Senator Thune, who's in leadership over there. They've talked about this because that's actually a winning issue for Republicans, particularly with middle-class women. And they have some problems with that constituency now, particularly after the Dobbs decision. When the rubber hits the road, they're not voting for it. They don't do it, right? It's because it's the business interests, the unions, and those kinds of old school Republican stalwarts there and the lobbyists. They talk them out of it. But I think this is a losing issue for Republicans. And if they were smart, this is a bipartisan issue that could benefit them, particularly for the Republicans in swing districts.
Julian, how is this not a total indictment of the Democratic Party and the so-called liberal media, given that Republicans do these crazy, extreme, unpopular things in plain sight all the time, and yet it's Democrats who are accused of being out of touch, too left-wing, alienating independents, defund the police? I mean, how many Americans think it's okay to oppose federal protections for interracial marriage in 2022?
No, absolutely, Mehdi. I mean, Republicans, especially in the Trump era, have talked a big game about being the party for working people, the new party for working people, and Democrats being elite. They did it in the 2022 cycle, and you had these articles, even in mainstream press, that seemed to validate that idea that that's where things were heading with Republicans and Democrats. I wish that every single voter out there could stop for 30 seconds and get a whiff of what Republicans did here to rail workers. And once again, they went with serving big corporate interests. This is really who they are. But, I think we can indict ourselves as Democrats and also media in different ways. The voters don't seem to get that message as plainly and clearly as they should, based on the record that is right in front of us.
Last question to you, Tara. 30 seconds left. Is Herschel Walker going to lose next week in Georgia because he's too extreme?
He absolutely should lose. I'm confident that he will lose. I think the voters in Georgia, those Bannon line, middle-of-the-road voters in Georgia who rejected Herschel Walker, the 200,000 of them that voted for Brian Kemp and did not vote for Herschel Walker, see that he is an unmitigated, ignorant, unstable, unqualified candidate and would be an embarrassment to the people of Georgia. And I'm pretty confident that the good voters of Georgia know better than to send some token like Herschel Walker to the Senate.